Hello, everybody. This week's lesson is on renewable and non-renewable resources. These are in the same set of Google Slides in your Google Classroom. I believe it starts on slide 20. Okay, so let's get started. So energy resources are something we harness as humans to do work for ourselves. So I have 3 terms on this page for you to write down. So energy resources are anything that can be converted by humans into other forms of energy in order to do useful work. And those resources fall into 2 main categories, renewable and non-renewable. I know you've heard these 2 words before. Renewable resources are those natural resources that can be used and replaced over a relatively short period of time, while non-renewable resources cannot be replaced or can only be replaced over thousands or millions of years. So I have an example of each here. I have the Marathon Petroleum Plant in Kenai. Okay, so we have that locally. And this is the Gavins Point Dam in Yankton, South Dakota. So this is the muddy Missouri River. This is where I grew up. My town was on this side. It's obviously way further back. But over here, this is technically speaking Nebraska. But anyway, that's the power plant there. So we have an example of a renewable and a non-renewable resource. So you have probably heard of these as well. We have solar energy, which comes from the sun. We do need pretty fancy solar panels. It collects the heat and the light from the sun's rays and basically converts it to electricity. It's a very clean resource. Next, we have hydropower. I just have another picture of a dam. If you ever hear hydroelectric or hydropower, it's talking about using water to create electricity. Hydro simply means water. Think about staying hydrated as an athlete. You need enough water to keep going, right? So next one is wind energy. Okay, these big wind turbines. If you've never seen one of these up close, these turbines are as big as an airplane wing. They're huge, so they're kind of crazy. Next one down here we have is a geothermal plant, which is where they utilize the heat and the steam from the very hot water underneath Earth's surface to generate electricity. And here's actually a picture of how that works. Hot water is brought up. They utilize the steam to turn a turbine or a turbine. That goes to a generator, which creates electricity, and then the whole process repeats. Over here, lastly, we have biomass. So burning wood, sewage, municipal solid waste. Municipal just means it relates to a town. Industrial residues, animal residues, all of those things can be burned to release energy. So for each one of these, they are all generally clean. They produce less air pollution and carbon dioxide and whatnot, but they also have their own drawbacks. And that it might be that the materials needed to make the solar panels are expensive or rare. It might be that the dam messes up the local ecosystem. It might be that, we might run the risk of killing some birds here with windmills. Plus, they're not that pretty. I've also heard that they're noisy. I've never lived near them, so I can't actually say whether that's true or not. And so you get the idea. They each have their own drawbacks. Please, please, please click here within the slides to take you to a short text reading on renewable resources. Next, we have non-renewable resources. Again, you can click here to read more about this topic. These are mainly fossil fuels that we talk about that are non-renewable, but they are used because they pack a lot of energy. Okay, we can get a lot of energy out of a barrel of oil. In fact, one of our refinery here in Kenai, they take crude oil and they are able to get gas, gasoline, kerosene, diesel, other industrial products, plus even asphalt. So a lot of products are extracted from that. Okay, most of our systems today still depend on these resources. The way we heat our homes, the way we run our vehicles and fly airplanes. So they are definitely still needed today. Burning fossil fuels does create air pollution and CO2. Nuclear power is also considered a non-renewable resource because the elements needed are rare, are in short supply. What I mean by that is they're not, they obviously are not renewable. We can't make more of them, at a whim. We can't plant them in the ground and have more in 50 years. Okay, so nuclear power does not produce CO2, but does produce some radioactive waste. So that's sort of a pro and a con there of nuclear power. So in order of greatest to the least amounts used in the US, this is what we have: oil, coal, natural gas, nuclear, and then other. So I tried to get a picture of each one. I have oil, a coal plant, a natural gas plant, and then what appears to be a nuclear reactor plant. Okay, moving on. So your assignment this week is to choose one of those resources. Please, please, please go back and read more about them. So choose one, renewable or non-renewable, and create an advertisement for it. It may be hand-drawn or made in Google Slides. There will be more info in Google Classroom, but it must be neat, clear, and concise. I also want some images. Include a price. You'll need to do some research on that. You must acknowledge your pros and cons. Okay, because every energy type, renewable or non-renewable, has its advantages, and every type has its disadvantages, and you need to somehow address that in your advertisement. Try to come up with a catchy slogan. If you're not sure what a slogan is, think about McDonald's. I'm loving it, right? So any sort of a slogan or phrase that makes you think of the brand or think of a certain place without actually saying it. So there's that. All right, that's it for this week. Thank you.